That was a tremendous win for a university. You know, it's to beat a ranked team, and especially the way we've been in a couple of games in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Huge win for our football team. Huge win for our American Athletic Conference. You know, it's you know, when you play out of conference, you want to play well and you want to show up well. And I thought our football team and coaches did a heck of a job tonight. It was I thought 2 pretty evenly matched teams. You know, we had 2 running backs that got close to 100 yards. That was the big key. They did an excellent job of the first half of running the football and making us miss. We probably had 10, 12 missed tackles, just like we've been watching the last few weeks. And we talked to Steve Klingscale, did a heck of a job. He got the defense together and told them, just slow down. I mean, we try to play too fast sometimes. We get out of control, and we just we're missing tackles. In the second half, our guys settled down on defense, and they didn't panic. We gave up 1 long pass, and we had a heck of a goal line stand. And you know, it takes team effort. And then you look at our special teams. Our field goal kickers, you know, he continues to get better. His kickoffs are getting better. Our punters getting better. Our coverage teams, we did let them out of the chute one time, and fortunately they had a penalty on that one. But again, you know, you look going into this game and you say, you know, how do we match up with this team? And I tell our guys all the time that, you know, if you play as a group, you know, you play as a group, you don't start pointing fingers, you don't start wondering, you know, what if somebody else would do this? How come we don't play this other guy? Then you usually end up being a pretty good team. And we got better tonight. We had a lot of room for improvement, as we all know, is what we played last week, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But really proud of the coaches and players, how they hung in there. The first half was an offensive game for us, very little defense, and the second half was a defensive game with very little offense. And again, that goes back to show you somebody's got to play. Somebody's got to make a play. So it was a fun game for us. We get off that losing, you know, games in which everybody said, well, you probably should have won that one. You know, we won that one night. We went out and won it. And I was proud of everybody. I was proud of our fans for coming, our students. Our students were here. And that's huge the way we played tonight on Thursday night after the way we played last week and lost a game on Thursday on national television. So that being said, we still got a lot of room for improvement. It's just a huge boost for our football team to have an opportunity to play against a storied program like Miami. I spent 10 years there, and I know how they take their football. They're very fast, they're very quick, they're no different than they've always been, and we feel fortunate to have won. They've got a good football team. They'll win a lot of games. I'm just proud of our guys, the way things kind of went their way at the end of the game, but they made plays. They didn't give up plays, they made plays. Questions?
Counted at least six freshmen on defense.
Yeah, we
have to come away impressed with the way the day went.
Yeah, we need an open date. We've got a bunch of guys that we're just dragging out there, just trying to make it, because it's you know, one of those deals where we ran into a string of problems there with ankles and shoulders and all those things, but that happens to everybody. But somebody's got to step up, and they did. I thought our young guys stepped up tonight. We didn't have a corner in there playing the second half that played in the first 3 ball games. All new. They just had to go because you know, we lost Whitty, and then we lost Grant Coleman. He was about half speed going in the second quarter. So just proud of the guys stepping up, and that's a huge boost for our younger players, knowing that, you know, they can go play, they can have some success, and they don't have to do it by themselves. You know, everybody, if they make a mistake, somebody else will cover for them, and then they just bounce back and play the next play.
What is it about Hayden Moore that he just seems unfazed by the spotlight? He plays so well. Each time he gets better.
Yeah, I thought he started the game off well. The second half, they turned the heat up on him a little bit, but he didn't turn the ball over. And, you know, last words to him going out the second half, you don't have to win this game. And let somebody else do it. And they were going to take the ball out of his hand. They forced him to throw very quickly. They brought 5 and 6, played man coverage. But the one time they didn't play man is when we stuck the ball in, faked it, and threw downfield. And what a great catch from Mikael McKay. Just a super catch. And just proud for the offense and for us. You know, how many people can go into a game, win a game like that with a quarterback that's never really played, you know, as a starter. And this was his first game as a starter. Now, hopefully, Gunner can get back and they can compete, and we'll see who's going to be the guy when we go play Brigham Young in a couple of weeks. That's not a given. You know, I don't let people lose positions because of injury, and they'll compete, and we'll chart them. But it's good to have competition.
Tom, you talked all week about how fast Miami is, but you seem every bit as fast as they were, and that's what you've been doing.
Yeah, we've been trying to build speed. That's all. We've been recruiting athletes and speed. And I thought, again, if you look across the board in the secondary, Zach Edwards is the only guy that played 3/4 of the time that played in the first 2 games. And we just decided a couple of weeks ago, enough's enough. You know, we got to put athletes out there. If they make mistakes, they make them, but usually they can make up with them because of the speed or quickness they have. So that's what we're shooting for. We're not there yet, obviously. We still got a lot of work to do, especially on defense. But tonight we put pressure on the quarterback with a 4-man rush and a 3-man rush for the first time this year. That hasn't happened all year long, and that's a huge help for a secondary that, you know, if you can get a quarterback stepping and throwing off his back foot, then you got a chance. And I thought our defensive front did an excellent job.
You just had the one turnover really that's been hurting you. Turnover's been hurting you. Is that
all we had? We had one?
One interception. Just
One interception, yeah.
Talk about not going so fast, slowing things down. Is that a byproduct of that?
Yeah, but you know, again, they talked him into throwing that ball, and they can talk Hayden or Gunner or any experienced quarterback into throwing. The way they play defense, they're very fast in the secondary and they cover a lot of ground. But you know, our game plan to go in was to go very fast, and they hadn't seen a team that snapped the ball as much as we do, and I thought it helped us. I thought we looked a lot better in the fourth quarter than they did in terms of guys flying around and making plays. Not that they weren't out of shape, but we played a lot of players. I mean, we had guys going in and out, and we looked a little fresher in the game. I thought their offense bogged down a little bit in the red zone because we looked like we were a little bit faster, and that's the change. Normally we're on the other side of that, but. Again, we've been working these guys awfully hard, and they need a couple of days off.
You mentioned what a big win this was for the league. Did you talk to your players about that at all? About this is a Power 5 team, if you guys want to make a statement, this is your chance to do it, or did it
No, we don't separate us from the Power 5. You know, we're as good as most of them in the Power 5 anyway. You know, I think there's a Power 1. There's about 15 schools that most of us have a tough time beating right now, but everybody else is pretty much the same. I think that kind of gets overblown, but you know, Miami's won 5 national champions. You know, you always, a team like Miami's always going to get everybody's best shot. I've been there, done that. I know, and you know, they knew they were going to get our best shot. Now they had a week off, and they had a good plan. And fortunately, we were able to execute and get them off the field a little bit, and we weren't very good on 3rd down conversions. I mean, we were pretty awful, to be honest with you. What, we were 2 for 9, cause?
Yes, sir.
We were 2 for 9. Normally you don't win ball games like that. But the key tonight, the second half, we missed very few tackles, and we did not turn the ball over the second half, and I thought that was a key.
Speaking of the second half, in the third quarter, we only gained 5 net yards. Can you describe what happened in the third quarter?
Yeah, they started putting them all up there, and they were going to take the ball out of his hand. We didn't adjust until late, and we were looking for the one time where they didn't do it, where we get the ball down deep down the field. Mikhail was, you know, he's a target, and he was a guy we wanted to go to. But they came out the third quarter and set the precedent. I think we went maybe 3 and out twice, and then we made 1 first down, and then we had to punt. That was huge for them. They were trying to get the ball back, but again, we won the ball game on defense the second half. There's no doubt about that. But that's the first time we've done it. Our offense has really played well most of the year. Our defense finally grew up a little bit tonight.
Why tie up Coswell, Tommy, on that last touchdown?
What about him?
Why'd you go to him? He had like 1 catch the whole year.
Well, that's the reason. You know, we hadn't thrown to our tight ends much, and we wanted to play action. What they did down there is we blocked him inside like he was blocking. They played man coverage, and we brought him back outside, and their guy kind of got his eyes on the quarterback. In man coverage, if you look at the quarterback, you lose your guy, and so it was great for Cogs. You know, he's from Fort Lauderdale area, you know, and to make a big catch like that in a game like that is huge. And we got a lot of guys from South Florida, and that was You know, they take pride in playing against their guys that they played against high school.
Couple more?
Came in, I think 4 of 14 in the red zone. Much better tonight, obviously. Was it just execution?
Yeah, well, execution and running the football, we were able to run it. I tell you, our two running backs really, they pounded it. And normally in the situation, you know, we were able to, you know, in the past we've had to play action and throw it more, but, you know, we broke some pretty good sized runs down in the red zone. Jose ran the ball well. Of course, he scored from about 30 out on the second effort run, in which, you know, we've been looking for one of those. Well, it showed up. But again, it's about playing defense. I'm telling you, if we can just add a little defense to this football team, we're going to win a lot more games. But we got to keep getting better. Our offense will continue to get better. We'll start getting our receivers back. Mike Boone will be back next time we tee it up. Our running backs are going to need a little bit of help. Our offensive line really played well tonight for the run, but we still got a lot of work to do. And you know, just proud of everybody. It's just fun to, you know, to have that win and see the guys smile and have a little fun after the game.
How do you account for the fact that Hayden had 4 turnovers in 15 plays 2 weeks ago, and he had just 1 interception tonight against a far better team?
Oh, I'd say just concentration. We've talked to him all week about focusing, handling the ball. Of course, they fumbled twice at Miami of Ohio, just handing the ball off, and you can't do that as a quarterback. If you're going to turn it over, you're going to get it. You need to get it knocked out of your hands, or you got to throw an interception. Trying to make a play, that's not making a play. Turn it over on a fumble. So, you know, he was a lot more careful tonight. I think he trusted his receivers, but you know, you got to preach to a kid like that. It's not a sin to punt the ball. You know, live to punt. And, you know, if you just don't turn the ball over, don't put the defense in a tough situation, you got a chance. And he grew up a lot tonight. You know, I saw his eyes. You know, he was a little bit nervous going into this game. He knew what he was getting ready to face. That was the best team we played all year, and he knew that what he was facing was going to be a little bit different on the other side. And they were going to try to intimidate him, but he held in there good. He didn't play as good as probably he'd like. He'd like to have a couple of passes back, but he did make some real good choices in what he was doing.
You said Gunner won't lose the job because of injury.
They'll both compete.
Hayden has played well enough to make it an open competition.
Oh yeah. I mean, you got to do that. You know, you got to go back and that's not. I'm not saying that Gunner's cleared yet. Right. He's not cleared yet, but I want both of them to be out there and helping each other, but competing against each other. It's good to have 2 guys now that you know that you can put in the game and they help each other. So, you know, it's going to be a friendly competition. I'm not going to let it be anything other than that, and you know, let the best man go. But I tell you, in 2 games, Hayden's done a real good job, excellent job. We put Gunner in the press box. I want him to watch from the press box tonight, see how things develop. I didn't want him on the sideline, just for the fact that just kind of see how a game goes. And hopefully he learns something out of the night too. But it's surely going to be good to have him back. Really going to be good to have him back.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.